everyone, Mackenzie Wild here with Wild Child Horsemanship, and welcome back to the Wild Child Academy. Have you maybe started to notice that your horse isn't really making the progress you're looking for in your training? Maybe you've noticed that they've hit like a plateau. They're not really making more progress, but they're also not making any less progress either. Or maybe you've begun to notice that your horse has started to regress in their training, maybe even to the point where they're worse off than when you first started working with them. As much as we all hate to admit it, it is scientifically proven that a good portion of the problems we face with our horses are actually man-made. And so we decided to create this course for you guys so that you can maybe pinpoint something that you could be doing wrong, learn some things that people tend to do that can affect the ability or their ability to make progress with their horse, and overall just offer some ways for you guys to learn something. Another common mistake people tend to make in horse training is not knowing when to stop or continue. So let's take Maple, for example. Okay, let's say Maple is starting to show us that she is super stressed, she is super overwhelmed, and is just not really enjoying what's going on in that moment. So what people sometimes tend to do is they're going to keep pushing Maple further. Okay, rather than taking a moment to try and de-escalate and take a step back and work on something a little easier, they keep trying to push Maple through her anxiety, through her stress, and through her fear. And what this happens is this will eventually push Maple into fight, flight, or freeze mode. She's going to enter survival mode. She's not going to learn anything. All her focus is going to be is on how can I get out of this scary situation. She might bolt, she might buck, she might start displaying other dangerous behaviors. And in turn, you're going to just continue pushing her over the threshold. You're going to end up flooding her, putting yourself and Maple in a dangerous situation. Or we have the other side of it, whereas people don't necessarily challenge their horses enough, okay? So let's say I'm trying to teach Maple something new, and she's starting to show that she's a little frustrated, she's not quite picking up on it, but she hasn't quite reached the point of complete shutdown yet, right? I notice just that little bit of stress and just completely stop working with her altogether. I stop working with her, the session ends, and then in turn, Maple's not gonna learn anything from that, right? There's something in horse training called the window of tolerance. And so the window of tolerance is basically what Maple can handle before she starts going over the threshold. Some horses have a very small window of tolerance. You can't really throw much at them before they start to really get stressed and overwhelmed and start nearing that threshold limit. Other horses have a much larger window of tolerance where you can throw a lot more at them and you can do a lot more with them. Keep in mind, a horse's window of tolerance can grow over time too. If you take the time it takes to slowly and patiently introduce them to new things, they are going to start growing that confidence, start realizing that you're not there to hurt them, and that window of tolerance can grow more and more and more the more you start to introduce horses to new things and put them through new exercises and teach them new behaviors. Not knowing when to stop or continue can cause quite a few different issues when training. First off, they're not going to learn anything. Whether you're that person who is unable to push your horse a little further or read their body language enough to know when you can keep trying to work on something, they're not going to learn anything because before they have the chance to do so, the session just ends. Or if you end up pushing the horse too far, they're not going to learn anything either because they enter survival mode and they just can't think clearly. They can't think, what am I supposed to learn from this? All they're thinking is, how can I escape this situation? You can also cause lots of regression in training, specifically if you end up pushing the horse too far, because when you continuously push them over the threshold and push them past their limits, you create a lot of fear in training, a lot of anxiety, and in turn that horse is going to slowly not be able to trust you because they learn that when they work with you, they're always pushed into super scary situations and situations where their brain is just like, oh my god, what the hell, and just completely shuts down. So you can also cause a lot of regression if you push the horse too far. Or if you tend to end the session too early because you notice that the horse is just slightly worked up, not nearing the threshold or anything like that, if you tend to end the session like that, the horse is going to learn like, hey, you know, I'm a little uncomfortable, that means the session is going to end. And then when you try to push them a little further next time, they might display some behaviors of like, well, hey, when I was a little bit nervous last time, you didn't push me any further. And so you can also start to develop a horse who is a little bit sour to training because they have started to realize that just that little bit of stress, just that little bit of nervousness typically stops the session altogether. And that's something we don't want to train our horses as well. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you when learning when to stop or continue is figuring out how to read equine body language and read it well. Obviously, horses can't speak English, so it's our job to learn how to speak the language of the horse. It's our job to be able to read their body and figure out if they are nearing that threshold limit, if this is a point where we need to take a step back and work on something a little easier and de-escalate, or if this is a point where we can keep going. And the only way for us to know that is to be able to read their body language, understand what it means, and go from there. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of the 10 common mistakes people tend to make when horse training. If you would like to watch the remainder of the episodes, please go and subscribe to the Wild Child Academy. We'll put the link in the description for you guys. Don't forget to also check out the books that we have on the shelves. We also have merchandise out there and a bunch of other awesome things as well. Don't forget to also check out Mending the Soul Equine Rescue and Sanctuary. We started Mending the Soul so that we could actually take in horses like Maple, rehabilitate them, get some training on them, and find them a forever home. So definitely go and check out Mending the Soul and figure out how you can help us help more horses in need. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.